More than 10 years ago, my husband's parents also traveled from Shandong to Beijing, but that journey was very different. At that time, high-speed rail had not yet reached their hometown. To get to Beijing, they had to take an old-style grain train. Most trains to Beijing traveled overnight. The journey took around 8 hours, and sometimes they could not even buy a seat. They had to stand for hours in a crowded aisle. The sound of the train running over the tracks was loud. The carriage was crowded, and Beijing was a completely unfair city. But they were not going there for a holiday. They were going to work as construction workers. Today, more than 10 years later, they are older. They have returned to the village. And now we are taking them to Beijing again. But this time, they are not going there to work. They are taking a high speed train with their son, their daughter in law, and their grandchild. The destination is the same, but almost everything else has changed. When we watch my husband's parents leave the village today, it is easy to think of them only as elderly rural parents. But more than 10 years ago, they were also part of a generation that left home to look for work. They traveled from a familiar village to an unfamiliar capital, not because they wanted to experience a new city, but because there was work there. They became construction workers in Beijing. Like many migrant workers of their generation, they helped build a city where they did not permanently belong. During the day, they work on a construction sites. At night, they rested and prepared to work again. The city offered income, but it was not yet home. Their real home was still the village in Shandong. Years later, after they became older, they returned to the countryside. The village became their daily life again. So this journey is not simply taking two rural parents to see Beijing for the first time. In a way, we are taking them back to the city that was once connected to a difficult period of their lives. The clearest difference between the two journeys is time. More than 10 years ago, the train in Beijing took around 8 hours. It often traveled overnight. If they had a seat, they could try to sleep. If they didn't, they might have to stand in the aisle for much of the journey. The carriage was crowded. People carried bags, food, bedding, and things they need for work. The train moved with the loud, repeated sound of the wheels hitting the tracks. For someone leaving home to work in an unfamiliar city, those 8 hours were not just travel time. They were the space between one life and another. On one side was the village, family, familiar roads, and home. On the other side was Beijing, work, construction sites, and uncertain new life. Today, we enter the station by scanning our ID cards. Our seats are already assigned. We know exactly when the train will arrive. The journey is much shorter, the carriage is quieter, and the grandparents can sit by the window. The physical distance has not changed, but the experience of crossing it is completely different. There is another difference that cannot be measured in hours. More than 10 years ago, my husband's parents had to find their own way into an unfamiliar city. They had to understand the station, find a train, protect their bags, and then find work and daily life in Beijing. Today, their son is leading the way. He checks the tickets, reads the signs, finds the game, carries the luggage, and makes sure his parents are still following. Years ago, they worked in Beijing so that their family could have a better life. Today, the child they raise is taking responsibility for the journey. This is a small moment, but I think it means a lot. When children are young, parents take them into the world. When parents become older, the children slowly begin to lead them through it. At the high speed railway station, everything becomes busier. There are people everywhere, big screens, security checks, gates, announcements. For young people, it's easy. But with grandma and a baby, every step becomes slower. One person have to check the tickets, one person to watch the baby, and someone need to carry the things. Someone need to make sure the grandma are following. If there is stairs or escalators, we have to think. Can the strollers go there, or should we find the elevator? Is it too crowded? Can grandma walk comfortably? So a normal station becomes a small family project. After we sit down, I finally have time to feel the high speed train itself. Honestly, the first thing I notice is that it's much quieter than I expected. Outside the window, everything is moving fast. The houses, the fields, the roads, the cities, they are passing by quickly. But inside the carriage, people are sitting quietly. Some people are sleeping, some people are looking at their phones, some people are eating some simple things. The train is fast, but inside is calm. But for my husband's mother, I can still notice that she is observing something. The seats, the speed, the wheels, the screams, the announcements. She may not say big words, but she will ask, how fast is it? How long until Beijing? Are we in another city now? I wonder what his parents are thinking. Maybe they remember the old night train, the crowded aisle, the sound of the tracks, the feeling of arriving in a city where they knew almost no one. Today, they are traveling on the same route under completely different conditions. They have seats. Their son is beside them. Their grandchild is sleeping nearby. And they are no longer going to Beijing to find work. They are going there to look, to remember, and perhaps to understand how much their own lives have changed. For our baby, this train may be completely ordinary, but for the grandparents, this quiet seat may contain more than 10 years of memory. When we arrive in Beijing, the feeling changes again. There are more people, more exits, more signs, more stations, more roads, more choices. 请您不对号车次，排队检票乘车。I don't want to treat this as a normal sightseeing trip. For my husband's parents, this city is connected to a part of their own lives. More than 10 years ago, they came here as workers. They saw the city through construction sites, long working days, crowded transport, and the pressure to earn money. They may have helped build apartments, offices, roads, or other parts of a city that was changing very quickly. But they did not come here with time to slowly look around. Today, they return in a different role. They are no longer here to build the city. They are here to see it, to walk slowly, to take photos, to sit down when they feel tired, and to visit places they may never had time to visit while they were walking. This is why the trip has a special meaning. Beijing is not only the capital. For them, it is also a city connected to youth, work, sacrifice, and the years when they were trying to support their family. Today, they are older. They have returned to the village, and now they are going to Beijing again on a high speed train. This time, they have seats. Their son is leading the way, their grandchild is traveling with them, and they are not going there for work. They are going there to see the city with their own eyes, without the pressure of earning a living. The route is similar, but the family has changed. The train has changed. China has changed. What's the transportation like in your hometown? Have the regular train been replaced by the high-speed rail? Or people there still depend too much more on bus or cars? Leave a message and tell me in the comment. See you next time. Bye bye.